$1 million Great Plains Nature Center has finally opened its doors to the public.
Center, a place for both you and your kids to learn about your own backyard.
Aquila the golden eagle to do the honors.
And did you know, although the park has been open for several years, displays at the Great Plains Nature Center open to the public this Saturday. It's located at 29th and Woodlawn. It will be open Monday through Saturday from 9 to 5. Park officials estimate 150,000 people will visit the center every year, and best of all, it is free.
I was the original director of the Great Plains Nature Center. And in 1986, we had the grand opening of Chisholm Creek Park with all nature trails in, or at least the old asphalt trails were in. We had a wonderful grand opening. We had dignitary tours up and down the trails. Aquila the golden eagle, that was one of our main program animals, broke the ribbon.
Back in 1988, the Nature Center was nothing more than a flat piece of land and a dream of city and state officials.
At the end of our walk, he said, I'm going to send you an aerial photo. I want you to sketch out some trails. I want you to outline your vision. And I did that. With the Chisholm Creek Park trails open, we had lots of programming and stuff going on. Lots of school groups. We were doing lots of school assembly programs. We were in the field. We didn't have a facility, we were in the field. We were dreaming about how could we be more effective? How could we reach a greater audience? And in 1988, Frank Smith, our park director, and me, and Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks Secretary Bob Minen and Assistant Secretary Alan Wentz met actually at Botanica, which was also brand new at that time. And we proposed to them the concept of joining forces in urban nature education programs. We also had the public unveiling of something that brought all of the educational components that I had been working with and my new staff. The Wichita Wild program was kicked off. And at that time, it included me and Jim Mason and Connie Elpers and Connie Story. And the Kansas Wildlife exhibit soon followed with its redesign and opening. So Chisholm Creek Park began because we had a park director who also thought this was something that Wichita ought to have. So in 1994, plans began to move forward with construction. Construction took, I guess, 2 years, and we actually moved into the building in early 1996. We expected in 96 that the exhibits would be following us within about 6 months. So we were hoping for a grand opening that wouldn't be too far down the road. It was later in 1996 that we heard that a snowstorm had collapsed the building in Washington that was housing all of the exhibits that were under construction by a company out of California. And all the exhibits were lost. And with it went all the money that we'd put into it. And there were a lot of tears among the staff, and we knew that it was going to delay things for years, and it did. And so we delayed the grand opening from 96 when we moved into the year 2000. And so we had 4 years of getting our act together, including forming the Friends of the Great Plains Nature Center in 1998. The Friends of the Great Plains Nature Center was set up to receive this money, to handle the money, and to dedicate the money for use in the exhibits. Friends was eminently important at that time, and by the time the building opened in 2000, we were ready to kick off the gift shop as well. And so the Friends organization was the likely group to operate the gift shop, which came to be known as the Owl's Nest.
I didn't know deer made noise.
The Great Plains Nature Center hopes to draw people like Charlotte Foster and Nancy Weber here by asking one question. Did you know?
I didn't know we had walleye in Kansas.
By providing answers, this center wants to give you, Charlotte and Nancy, a better understanding and respect for the environment and wildlife of the Great Plains. Interactive by nature, educational by design. It's taken more than a decade to build this center.
Well, this is really neat, Nancy. Yes, it is.
Charlotte and Nancy have lived in Kansas all their lives, but leaving here, they say they now know more about the environment they live in.
I go to nature to be soothed and healed, and to have my senses put in tune once more.
When I was a kid, we would come for walks here. And one time when we were feeding turtles at sea, there was a baby snake on the ground. And so then we used one of the guidebooks to identify the baby snake. And another time there was a heron getting its dinner in the evening. So that was really cool to see with the ducks. This is the curiosity of children come to life. Like, as an adult, I never look up, but everything is new to them, so they look everywhere.
So when I was in 8th grade, I believe is the first time that I started coming to the Nature Center, and around that time, I started volunteering just in the summers, I think at my mother's suggestion, but quickly fell in love with everything. In high school, I started volunteering through this class at my school called Servant Leadership with my friends, and we would take care of snakes, the kestrels, feed all the different animals, do some trail cleaning. And I guess there's a lot of stories I could share about that, but I became a lot more comfortable handling snakes than I ever thought I was going to be. Also in high school, as I started spending more time here, I would pick up some of my young cousins on Friday mornings and take them fishing. So we'd get donuts and then go fishing at Island Pond. Years later, when I was kind of older and wiser, I returned to the Nature Center with my future wife, and we kind of walked around, and I got down on one knee and proposed to her. So that happened here at the Nature Center. Fast forward 10 years, 4 kids later, 3 states later, we had moved back from Florida, and I got to bring my kids back for a fishing derby here at the Nature Center, which was amazing. So bottom line is so many great memories here at the Nature Center that I'll treasure forever.
My name's Evan. I've been coming to the Nature Center for a couple of years now. It's a place that my family comes on walks when it's nice outside. My wife was just here yesterday taking our baby on a walk while I was working. When the weather permits, we love coming out here, whether it's during the day or after I got off work and we all come together. It's many individual moments that adds up to a reliance on great centers like the Nature Center.
I don't think that any of us involved with the development of the Great Plains Nature Center had any idea how important the Friends of the Great Plains Nature Center would become to this facility. We knew that we had to have a partner, but we didn't realize how big of a role the Friends would take in growing. If you take a look at the staff that we had at that time, which was 3 City of Wichita employees, 1 state person, and 1 federal person, it's hard to believe that 6 people could operate this whole facility. We needed volunteers, we needed a volunteer coordinator, we needed somebody to handle the money. It just grew 1 position at a time until eventually most of the employees at what we know as the Great Plains Nature Center today, most of them are Friends employees. Conservation and environmental stewardship, and how important are they to life in Kansas, in Wichita, and in the country. It's interesting that we're doing this interview today because when I was born, the population on Earth was about 2.5 billion people. And today it goes over 8. And it makes you stop and think, what should our environmental awareness and importance be in the future? And that alone, that number alone, should tell you why it's important. I remember stressing multiple times that we have to be accurate in what we tell people. We have to tell truthful things. But those truthful things that we tell them isn't really the big picture and isn't really our goal here. I think our goal at the Nature Center initially was not to tell people what to think, but to encourage people to think.